And we live. Welcome, Roscoe Petersen. It's an honor to have you on the show. Honor not just to have you on the show, honor to have you on the show as a friend, a really good friend.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, do you want to maybe say hello?
Yeah, everybody. Now, thanks for the invitation. Um, I think I'm more honored and privileged to be on this platform than you having me on this show. So, yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Check how you boost me. Um, yeah, so I mean, I think I wanted you on the show a long time, just hearing of your story, and maybe just give us a bit some insight into the last 3 or 4 years of your journey.
Football journey,
Yeah,
my
let's start with
career.
the football journey.
Yeah. The last 3 years I was at Cape Umoya United in the NFD. The club was new, so we tried to start something there. Obviously, try and get the club to the PSL. Um, so I've been there for the last 3 seasons. Before that, I was at Ajax for 2 seasons, and now I'm back in the PSL. Fortunately,
Hmm.
playing for the club where it all started for me, Chippa United. So I've done the full circle, I say, in my football career.
Wow, correct, yeah. That's the
Yeah.
club where you started.
And I beat
Sure.
you in the playoffs.
Yes.
Uh,
at the, at the at Philippi Stadium.
that's correct, yeah.
Wow. Yo, amazing
Mm.
memories.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you asked whenever I have these talks and even at school when I'm teaching, and then I'll share a bit about my journey, but you're sharing
Mm.
deeper things. But without fail, somebody will ask me a football question afterwards. So it's
Yeah.
refreshing to hear you asking or clarifying whether football is spiritual. Maybe
Uh,
take us through a bit, yeah, take us through a bit of your spiritual journey the past 3, 4, 5 years.
yeah. So, yeah, 5 years was probably when I surrendered my life to Jesus. After I think I spent the season with you at Vasco da Gama, and then I crossed paths with Bruce Naden. You obviously gave introduction to
Mm,
us one day, and yeah, then fortunately I moved on to Ajax, and that's where Bruce was the sports chaplain. So from there, obviously, Bruce became like my spiritual mentor, and I spent lots of time with him. And yeah,
mm,
we had this thing of like you're saying, anger versus passion, and so he's helped me a lot through my journey. Obviously, making sense of it all for me because obviously we play in a
mm,
team sport and highly competitive environment. I will say that I'm very passionate about the sport and I'm very passionate about my standards and the level of football that I want to play. So
mm,
that kind of drove me more than, which is basically, if I can put it to you in those terms, is uncontrollable. So I would be worried about my teammates and the result of the training session or what other people are doing. And that you would frustrate me instead of me just focusing on what I could control, which was my performance and my effort at training every day. So the two actually came together at the perfect time for me, like my footballing career and my spiritual journey. With Bruce's guidance, and I mean, having a teammate like you at Vasco, obviously, we had some heavy conversations and
mm,
some good fights, I'll say. And then also becoming teammates with Travis Graham, Brandon Petersen, Paulse, kind of just, like I said, it just fell into place for me perfectly. I guess that's the way God had it planned out for me. And now, yes, obviously, I'm still growing spiritually. We're not perfect. We have our shortfalls. We always fall short. But yeah, I'm more in control of the controllables, and more focused on. I shared it with someone else the other day. Like when I play football now, all I'm thinking of is just glorifying God for the talent that He has given me. That's the only thing that I think of these days. Whether it's on the training pitch, whether I'm playing, that's where my focus lies, and it kind of gives me the freedom to express myself and not feel nervous and anxious and be worried about people judging me, or not to say I don't care what the coach says, but I mean I'm just focused on glorifying God every time I step onto the pitch. So my journeys come from being very wild and uncontrollable to surrendering to Jesus, knowing whose I am, knowing my identity, knowing my purpose, and now being very in control of those emotions. Yeah.
Sure. The way you articulated that, the way you articulated the whole process was insane. Because I agree. I don't think we really understand what we're going through. So from your side, when we were playing together, maybe just give the people some context. That is the one thing I realized. I struggled with people being angry with me and shouting at me. So I took more the passive approach, but my heart and my intentions was exactly like yours. It was worried about my teammates, worried about are we going to be successful, are we going to move forward. And I think that is what, I don't know if we've had this conversation, but that's what God revealed to me um, about who you are, your personality. And I remember thinking one day, but this guy just wants the best for the team. And for me, that changed how I reacted, that changed how our interaction, that changed how I think just as instrumental, I think you were in my life, I think God, you were in, just as I was instrumental in your life, I think you were just as instrumental in my life. Because I needed to learn how to look past the anger to somebody's heart and the intentions.
Yeah, I think. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, like you touched on it there. You touched on it there when you said, I think Bruce, the first thing he told me was, I think Johnny spoke to me about this player that's at this club, and he fights all the time, but he's fighting for the right reasons, but he's just doing it the wrong way. So I guess that was the Roscoe Petersen back then. I wanted to win. I wanted the club to do well so badly that would drive me, and it would drive me to places of anger, if I can put it to that. So yeah.
Hmm. And the same way that it was driving you to anger, I think it was driving me to run away from confrontation. So that season was one of the lessons I learned was, and we had tough conversations, I think, in sharing what is your idea, what was my idea, where I'm coming from, where you coming from. And I think in relationships there's so much of a breakdown. So what happened between the two of us was so beautiful, I think. And how God molded us and helped us to see beyond, just beyond the anger, and for me beyond the silence or the passivity of it. So that was beautiful. Where do you think what do you think the root is of that? Or did you want to speak on something else?
Sorry, say again. Where do I think?
What do you think the root is of the anger, or in my case the passivity?
I think like in sport in general, like I say, it's highly active. So for me, can't go like upbringing, but I always love sport and I always wanted to win. In whatever I always want. I think the wanting to win all the time kind of drives our passion, and then when that drives our passion, it basically controls us. At the end of the day, like we outcome. So it's something uncontrollable. But growing, winning, but if you win is out, so that's something that what to win, what we should focus on. So it's more about the action and the effort in putting, like the effort you put in on training, how to get better with your finishing, things like that. That will eventually get you to the result of either winning or losing. You understand? So rather instead of, yeah, like I think in our generation growing up, the thing was just you must want to win. So instead of teaching kids like wanting to win, rather teach them on what they should be doing to end up winning. Or you know what I mean? Whether you win or lose, your performance can still be great. So you can have an 8 out of 10 performance, but you lose the game. Surely you won't feel that bad after the game. You'll feel like, nah, man, I put in a good shift today. You know? So just the result didn't go our way. And I mean, surely you've played games where I've played games where I'm probably 4 out of 10 and we won. So I didn't have a great performance, but we won.
Yeah.
And then also vice versa. You'll have like, you'll score the 2 goals in a game, but you end up losing 4-2. Did you have a bad game? No. It was just the result. You know, the team holistically had a bad game. So I think that's where it stems from. Just the winning mentality, like really wanting to win at all costs. I think that is where mine stemmed from. I'm not sure how you were, but like I say, in sport, everybody wants to win, right?
Yeah. Nah, I mean, I was on a similar wavelength. It was winning at all costs, and I think for me, it was winning so that people could affirm me and say, "Oh,
Yeah.
John is so wonderful,"
Quite game.
and yeah, and I mean, you once again articulated it perfectly, because what happens is you end up not improving. So you just end up looking at the result. Like you said now, you could win 5-0 and have a bad game, but because you won 5-0, you're not looking at your performance, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So developing that mindset is not an easy mindset to develop, but I think for the process for me was, once I started to take my mind off me and what I wanted, and just looking at self. Once I took my mind off that and started looking at why am I doing this? Who am I doing it for? Who's the one that gave me the talent? Once I started doing that, things fell into place, and you get perspective. You there?
Yeah, like that's why I asked earlier when I touched on how my footballing journey and spiritual journey like just fell into place perfectly, because I think like you shouldn't be living for self. It's more like you should be serving others, and like coming from that perspective, like I also had conversations with Panina now.
Technology can sometimes be the worst thing ever. I can't hear you. Are you there? I can't. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm gonna remove you and then add you quickly back. No? Just let me remove you quickly. Are you there? Okay. Let's both leave and then come back again. No? Let's wait for. Quite. Yeah,
We
there
back.
you go.
Yeah.
Technology, bro. Sure. And I
It
just fixed
happens,
this
man.
thing. Anyway, you were saying?
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, where was I? On the thing of you were talking about like self, like you play
How taking our
or you
minds
wanted that
off, or how
feeling of
taking the perspective of us and putting it on God, how that gives us real perspective.
yeah,
And
there
then
we
you
go.
talked about
So
serving.
like I said, yeah. So when you like your perspective changes from self to others, that's when you start seeing more than what you've seen before. And I spoke to Bruce about leadership. Like I've always, growing up, people always said I'll be a good leader one day, and um, always had that characteristic. But um, I guess I was leading from a point of me, and when I realized whose I am, I started leading from a position of Jesus more, and that led to me leading by action, because like Jesus was a man of action. So instead of talking all the time, I would just be quiet and lead by action more. Where I
Yeah.
felt before that I had to make a lot of noise to lead. But I feel now, obviously, from a Jesus perspective, the greatest leaders are the ones who act more than just speak. So
Do you
that
think
kind
you're a
of
better
helped
leader
me
now?
with the anger versus passion. Yeah.
Do you think you're a better leader now?
Yep. Now, look, I've, um, back, I feel like it's my like the comeback or the bounce back. But this time I'm not doing it like with self pride. I'm doing it from a position of God, from a position of Jesus. So I want to do this now like the right way, like with God leading, with Jesus being my captain. And I feel I'm a better leader because I feel like my performance is better, and that means my action. I do of the spirit, like so whether it's a session, get called in to do on time and doing it because that's part of faithfulness, and faithfulness is the fruit of the spirit. So I try and honor God in all that I do every day. And just like I said, when I play now, I think of glorifying His name because of He gave me the talent. So instead of focusing on keeping everybody in line and shouting at everybody, I keep my focus on glorifying God. How do I glorify? Displaying the.
And and I guess you probably end up bringing more people into your circle because now, when you're concerned about serving others, you don't end up pushing them away. You end up drawing them closer.
Yeah. Yes.
And have you found that to be
Yeah.
true?
So, you.
I can hear you.
There we go. Yeah, you asked the question.
Yeah, have you found that to be true? You're drawing more people in now.
Yeah, it's crazy, eh? Like, also it's been easier for me to kind of be open. Um, can now.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Because I think there's just a lag in the video. Can you
I
hear
can
me?
now, yeah. You were saying?
You're shaking your head. Yeah, I was saying that now it's easier for me to open up to others, and more now than before. That's going like you're saying, having more circle. And I always so I'm not really good in interacting with people or on live streams or in front of crowds, but because I would feel that I'm leaving myself vulnerable. But now, obviously, having Jesus in my corner, I feel that to stay vulnerable is more powerful than anything else, and just learning to get comfortable with your vulnerability.
And that's brilliant. I'm just reminded that the world, I mean, we born into this broken world, and the industry we find ourselves in is just as broken. And it's inspiring to see how God uses, God uses people to heal the industry or to make it whole again or to restore. And I think your story is so powerful and so needed in a time where God is trying to bring restoration to different areas of the world. So, I mean, it's amazing to hear.
Yeah. No, man, like, look, I honestly, I have many of these conversations, and all like in this, like, yes, like of this world, and so tend to get lost in our circumstances and in all that we see, and instead of focusing, on God, because I mean, God is good. There's only goodness that stems from God. So I firmly believe that if I'm an obedient child to my father, which is God, if I have a daughter, if she's obedient to me, I reward her. And I feel the same thing with God. If I'm an obedient and so if I walk down the road and I walk past someone, I can be kind. I can greet the person, ask them how they're doing. It's not that because of the circumstances that ourselves that we have to form to that. We have to keep us on that this for us
Do you think relationships with
with
team?
COVID having gone, and the time of COVID is probably it's probably brought me closer to God, having this pandemic, which people, like I said, the circumstance, it seemed weird and the worst circumstances we could have been in, but it's drawn me closer to God. And that's changed my perspective on it all. And I feel that our generation and doing these kind of talks online will bring restoration to or relationships.
If, if, if technology can help us, if technology can work with us, we'll do an even better job. Do you want to end off Is there anything
Yeah.
else you want to end off with?
Yeah. I feel like if you rather than the outcome, know your identity, know your purpose, know whose you are, and not what you don't like let your job also as a person away from people seeing me as a football out as Roscoe Petersen. Like small victories, habits.
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere where someone said if you instill good habits will take you through your bad days. So whether I'm in a bad mood or having a bad day, I know I've instilled the fruits of the spirit to be my daily habit. So even though I'm having a bad day, I'll still be doing good things. Yeah. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
We
like I said, I think
we will definitely do it again because I don't think technology did it. I don't think technology did it justice. But yeah, I want to thank you very much for joining. Your story so inspiring, and I think obviously God's shaping that story and God shaping the different parts of your personality. It's such a beautiful thing to see. But yeah, we'll definitely do it again. Apologies everyone for the lag. I think if you do go on YouTube,
we should just do an event.
I don't think there'll be a lag when you go.
An event, get a hall, invite people, sit down, and talk.
So this is so much easier, man.
Take technology out of the picture.
Take it out of the picture, yeah.
Hey. Yeah, it is.
But yeah, thank you for joining us, everyone.
Get rid of the brokenness. Yeah.